Hey guys, I have been teasing this video for a while now, and today is finally the day where I'm going to be reviewing all of the blushes that I've tried out this year thus far. And believe me, there are so many blushes that I've purchased, that I put on the test, that I've tried out, and I'm so ready to review them all. I feel like 2025 has been crazy with blush releases. Brands are just pumping out blush formulas left and right, or shade extensions. So I really decided to go all in, and I've tried out a lot of these new formulas. Most of these blushes are also available at Sephora, not all of them, but most of them. And I just wanted to remind you that Sephora is actually having their annual spring sale going on. So if you do want to save some coins at Sephora, and if you are living in the US, this might be a great time to pick something up if you want to try something out. The sale is currently ongoing until April 14th, so next Monday. I also made an entire video on my Sephora recommendations in case you're interested. But please do let me know if you have tried out any of the blushes featured in today's video. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Just drop me a comment down below. And if you end up enjoying this video, and if you are a blush fanatic as well, why not give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and also ring the bell in order to get notified about my upcoming videos. And all of these products are, of course, linked and listed in my description box down below, alongside with my usual discount codes. But alright, you guys, that's everything I wanted to have said for the intro. So because I have an abundance of blushes right in front of me, I would say let's maybe start off with liquid blushes, then we're going to be moving on to cream blushes, and then finally to the powder blushes. And I also left my very favorite formula for the end of the video. I'm just gonna say that. So let's actually start off with two liquid blushes. None of these are new formulas, but both of these brands have actually added some shades to their already existing shade range. So maybe let's start off with this blush. This is also the most affordable blush in today's video. So this is the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush, and this retails for $7. So right now this blush formula does come in 12 different shades in total. I can't remember how many shades there were originally and how many they have added. As you guys may remember, I used to have the shade Suave Mauve. I mean, I love a good mauve blush. You'll see I definitely have a preference when it comes to blush colors, and this is exactly the type that I would go for in terms of blush shades. So this new shade that I did pick up is called Bold Faced Lilac. Get out. This shade is so pretty. This is like a cool toned lilac-y pink shade. I have a more neutral, cool undertone, so these types of shades usually do work well for me, and I would say this formula is pretty pigmented. It blends out beautifully, but I tend to dot this a little bit on the back of my hand first. I work it into the brush from the back of my hand, and then I build this up slowly because this is quite a pigmented formula. So less is more with this. Another thing that I realized though about this blush, and honestly about a lot of liquid blushes with my skin, and this might just be me, so whenever I put this on an unset base, meaning I apply my foundation and then I apply this before I apply setting powder, and then I apply setting powder on top of it, it's kind of fading. Like the pigmentation kind of disappears. So what I tend to do is I put this on top of powder. A lot of people are scared to do that, but believe me, if you do the back of your hand technique, and if it's the correct formula, if it's not too emollient, and if it's not too wet in texture or too balmy, with a balmy formula, I would maybe not do that. But with this, it works. But that's the only thing. Otherwise, I really, really like these. These are long lasting. They've got a little bit more of that natural finish, but they are not too dewy. They are not too glowy, because mind you, if this is your very first time that you're watching any of my videos, I don't love anything that is too glowy, too shiny, or too dewy. I would rather have something a little bit more diffused or natural, but I don't like anything like really, really shiny or really, really radiant. It does have a little bit more of that natural finish, but I feel like for $7, this is such a good formula. So in case you've not tried these e.l.f. liquid camo blushes out yet, I would highly recommend them. They are really good. Let's move on to the next liquid blush, and it's kind of funny because they have recently added multiple shades to this already existing shade range, and I kinda almost picked up a similar shade to this e.l.f. liquid camo blush. So the blush that I'm talking about is actually by Huda Beauty, and it's the Blush Filter Liquid Blush. Oh, you guys may know how much I adore this formula. I love this formula. So right now they've got 11 shades in total, and the new shade that I picked up is the shade Ube Cream. Now they recently also added 3 other new shades, but I've got to stop myself. I really have to, because I really like the shades that I've got so far, maybe with one exception. There is one shade that I don't love 100%, but this one, let me tell you, this might be one of my favorite shades I've ever tried in this formula. This is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. This is described as an electric lilac. Another lilac shade. So here we have Huda Beauty, and this is e.l.f. I mean, immediately you can see that Huda Beauty is a lot cooler. These do smell of strawberry candy. Like, they've got a little bit of a scent to them. I don't mind that. The formula on these is also a little bit more radiant than the e.l.f. ones, I would say, without being over the top glowy, because again, I don't really love that. So this shade in particular is the one out of the 4 shades that I've got that has the least pigmentation. And I do feel like maybe this is also more aimed at lighter skin tones. However, if you have darker skin, I do think that you could still use this, because this is quite a beautiful formula, and I don't think that this has a white base. Although it's quite pastel-y because it's a liquid blush, this would probably work on you. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming. So again, I do apply this on top of setting powder. I really don't like this liquid blush underneath powder. I need to apply this on top of setting powder. I really do adore this blush. This is amazing, and I have recommended this so many times. So I feel like I sound like a broken record when it comes to this formula. So let's actually move on to one cream blush. Now this cream blush is actually also a shade extension. Now, this might be my favorite cream blush formula of all time thus far. This is amazing. So this is by Danessa Myricks, and this is the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder Flushed, and this retails for $25. They added 4 new shades to their already existing shade range, so at this moment in time, they do offer 11 shades in total, Rosé and Brunch. This was the shade that started my love for this formula. The new shades are pretty popping. When I saw these 4 different newly added shades, I immediately thought these are aimed at darker skin tones, which is great. So I was very reluctant in the beginning to actually try one of them out, but I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know if I could pull this off with my more light skin, and I picked up the shade Grape Soda. Look at this shade. Beautiful, right? This is exactly what I love, a good purple blush. I really do like purple blush. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is for sure mine. So yeah, I couldn't help myself. So I picked this one up. This one is actually described as a bold violet. And let me tell you, I was quite scared to use this the very first time. I was so cautious not to use too much of this product. I tapped off my brush before going in, but I was blown away because this really wasn't over the top pigmented. This just melted into my skin beautifully. Now, I did not go crazy with this, right? And I did build this up slowly, and I did not build this up a lot. This will stay on my skin until the end of my day. My skin does not eat this product up. It is just so beautiful, and I am so happy that I tried out this color. So this was the only more traditional cream blush. So let's move on to the next blush. And I'm gonna say this straight away. This is a very viral product. It's also a shade extension. This is not a new formula, but it's so viral. And I honestly, and please don't come for me, but I honestly don't understand why. I really don't understand why. So this is by Patrick Tar, and this is the major headlines. Double Take Cream and Powder Blush, and this retails for $38. Let me just start off by saying this packaging. Most of his products were quite disappointing considering the higher price tag, and this packaging, every time I have a Patrick Tar product, I just feel like it's so cheap. It looks like it's almost gonna be falling apart soon. I mean, this is also fingerprint central. I'm so sorry if all of my lights are reflecting, but just look at that. Ugh, it's very, very nasty. In the beginning, I was like, how do I open this? Usually I would like pull it open, right? No, but I gotta go from the back and then just kind of like push this upwards. So in total, they have 18 shades. 10 of them have a satin finish to them, and I'm not sure if that's the powder or the cream. And then 8 of them have a matte finish, and he actually added 4 new shades in his matte formula. So I've got the shade She Goes to the Gym, which is actually described as a cool mauve rose shade. Of course, are you surprised that I went with that shade? Now, the cream has a separate lid here. So this is the powder, this cream, right? I am so unsure about this review in particular because this might just be this shade. In terms of application, I know that Patrick Tar always advises to use the powder and then this cream blush on top. I really don't want to do that. So I tried this out in so many ways though. I did try that method and I did not like it. I also tried the cream on its own. I tried the powder on its own. And then I also tried the cream first and then the powder on top of it. And I had the same result every time. First off, this cream is so dewy on my skin. This almost looks balmy on my skin. I don't love this cream. The minute I put this on my skin, I was like, oh no, this is exactly the type of cream blush that I'm not gonna like. And guess what happened? My skin ate it up, it disappeared, it faded so quickly. And yeah, I just don't love the finish of the cream blush. And then the powder, it was so patchy. It was so splotchy. I don't know, maybe I just got the wrong shade. Maybe I have to try another shade. Maybe I'm gonna pick up the shade, what was it called? She's Seductive. That actually looks really pretty. So I'm gonna give this one a second chance just due to the fact that everyone seems to love this formula. And I just want to understand why. Let me know if you have tried out this formula and if you actually like it. I know a lot of people like this. Maybe it's just my skin. I have no idea, but yeah, this did not work out the best for me. All right, so let's move on to a hybrid product, and this is actually a new release. I feel thus far we only had shade extensions, so let's talk about the very first new launch, and man, I was so excited. This is by Rare Beauty, and this is the Soft Pinch Matte Bouncy Blush, and this retails for $27. I really do like a good cream to powder formula, something that is a little bit squishy, putty, you know, in the pan. And they have released this blush in 7 different shades, and your girl got 3 shades. I just picked up the ones that spoke to me the most. So I picked up the shade Hope, which is described as a nude mauve. Are we surprised? So this is the shade Hope. I also did pick up the shade Worth. And Worth is described as a true rose. This has a little bit more of that warmth to it. And I also went for another shade, a little bit more of a popping shade. I actually picked up Grateful, which is a bright red. This formula immediately reminded me of these blushes. I love them. Sweet Beauty. Amazing formula. And they came out last year with these blushes. I love this formula, and it is almost exactly the same one as the Rare Beauty blush. They actually do have this shade, Fancy Face. This pulls like a true red on me, whereas this bright red does pull a little bit more pinky. So if you have the same issue that some reds can pull a little bit pink on you, I would say go with Sweet Beauty just for the shade, because I mean, you can see I made a little bit of a dent in here. I love this shade. This is a true red on me. They are very velvety to the touch. It's like a velvet, silky sort of cream. The finish on these, The pigmentation, buildable, beautiful. I mean, this looks blurring. This just looks like airbrushed. It's gonna look like a powder on your skin. The shade Grateful is a little bit more pigmented straight off the bat, but what an amazing product. Really, really love these. Okay, so let's move on to the powder blushes. Now let's start off with maybe one of the powder blushes that I really did not enjoy that much. So this is the Say Super Suede Baked Powder Blush, and this retails for $28. I really do like their liquid blushes, the dew blushes. They are so amazing. I actually really, really like that formula. So I was kind of intrigued, to pick up one of these blushes. And these are described as radiant blushes. Now, I love my Kosas blushes, and I love my Aramas Redimension Hydra powder blushes. Those two formulas are also glowy blushes. I've got this in the shade Mia. They came out with 6 different shades. This was too glowy for me. It reminded me of Bare Minerals Mauve Glow. That's a blush that I really don't love. It's a highlighter on my skin. It's just too glowy. It's just a tiny bit too glowy. Another thing that I did not love was when I picked this up with my brush, a lot of the product came off immediately. This blush is baked. It has a dome shape. But there was so much on my brush and I was kind of scared to go in with this. But then when I went in, it almost did not show up. It did not show up. I did not see the color. This had such little color payoff. And then I had to build it up to see the color a little bit. And I just got myself into some hot waters because then it just started to look glowier and glowier and glowier. So this is, in my opinion, more of a blush topper. I mean, this shade Mia is described as a soft, rosy shade. Yeah, I wish I would have liked these because, again, I'm not completely opposed to a glowy blush, but it depends on the level of glowiness. And let me know if you've tried out this formula and if all the shades are like that, or if I just happened to pick up the one shade that was more of like a blush toppery shade. So the next formula is a little bit similar to what I just told you. This is the Cheeked Hair Blush by What's Up Beauty, and this retails for $35. So they actually come in 4 different shades. This was the very first time that What's Up Beauty actually did release a blush formula. They also did release a bronzer formula at the same time, and I love that bronzer. I really do like that bronzer. So I decided, you know what, I want to try out these blushes. So I picked up 2 shades. I've got this in the shade Peaceful Pizza. This is described as a baby pink blush featuring a light champagne sheen. Look at that. They've got this cool marbled effect on there. And I also have this other shade. Number 30 is called Relaxed Roma. This is a dusty rose blush featuring a rose gold sheen. The shade number 10, Peaceful Pizza, it's the exact same issue as the Say blush in Mia. This one is so sheerly pigmented, it barely has any color payoff, that when I put it on my skin tone, and I have light skin. In the summertime, I have a light to medium skin tone, but right now I've got light skin. When I put this on, it looks like a highlighter. It's almost like a blush topper, and again, I don't love that. I just don't love that. The shade number 30, which is called Relaxed Roma, is different. This is not quite as glowy because this has more pigment to it. And this shows up a little bit better on my skin. This is very warm though. This is like a true sort of terracotta, like nudie blush. Like this is a true rose shade in my opinion. If she could come out with a little bit more of a pigmented formula without this sheen to them, I bet you I would adore these blushes because they do look quite diffused. This is a great formula. You can tell that this is not a cheap powder. So let's move on from these What's Up Beauty blushes from an indie brand to a luxury fashion house brand. And you guys know I rarely or close to never review these types of brands on my channel. But I splurged. And for some reason, this release really got me. But I do want to mention that I got such a steep discount on these blushes. I would have never picked those up at full price. And I'm so glad that I got to try this formula because I feel like this also went viral. So of course I'm talking about YSL, and this is the Make Me Blush 24-hour buildable blurring powder blush, and one of them retails for $45. I mean, the packaging really, beautiful. really, really pretty packaging, right? What really drew me to these blushes is their shade range. I feel like they really made a great effort to have a good variety in different shades and different finishes. Now, these come with 12 shades in total. 6 of them have a matte finish and 6 of them have a satin finish. With satin, they actually mean a little bit more of that sheen, a little bit more of that like hourglass glow, that sophisticated glow. I picked up 3 matte shades and 1 with a satin finish. So let's maybe start off with these matte shades that I've got. And this is the shade 06 and it's called Rose Haze. It's described as a soft nude pink. On me, this looks quite peachy when it goes on. It's like a rosy, peachy shade. It's really pretty for the springtime. I also did get the shade number 12, Nocturnal Nude. This is a little bit deeper and warmer. I also have the shade 54, Berry Bang, which is described as a pink raspberry matte shade. This looks a little bit deeper, a little bit more pigmented. I'm going to tell you all about the pigmentation level in a second. I just want to show you the shades. I also have the shade number 44. It's called Nude Lavalier, and it's described as an iconic dusty pink satin. It's a little bit on a cooler side, but not extremely cool. I mean, we definitely had some blushes in today's video thus far that lean cooler than this shade. This formula, it is so overhyped and people are really putting this a little bit on a pedestal. I felt like I really had to build these up and I really had to put in a lot of effort. I had to blend these. I had to blend them to make them look quite seamless. And I don't think that they are anything out of this world. They are good, but they are not great. The shades were interesting. That's what drew me in. I also feel like the shade 44, I mean, it is glowy. However, this is a beautiful glow. This is a glow that I can deal with. The shade is pretty. I'm glad I've got them. I mean, I'm going to use them. I enjoy them. I just don't think that they are like a must-have necessarily. They are a nice addition if you like some of these shades. I mean, the shade range is pretty nice. But in terms of formula, I don't think it's my favorite formula out of this entire video. Again, my favorite formula is gonna come at the end, and it's also quite a luxury product. So let's move on to the next one. The next product is a limited edition product, but when I saw this, I immediately knew I want this. So this is by Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the Pillow Talk Beauty Soulmates face palette, and this retails for $52. On one hand, there are these people that are going to say that this packaging is super tacky, and on the other hand, there are people like me that are looking at this and feeling like this is the prettiest packaging ever. Now, if this would be silver instead of copper, I think this would be the prettiest packaging in the world. I mean, look at that. Honestly, I think this is so beautiful. And this looks luxurious. It feels luxurious. And I mean, I love it. This gives me Polly Pocket vibes. Throwback to the 90s, to my childhood. So I picked this one up in the shade Flawless Pink. There is also a colorway Flawless Peach. This is the finishing powder, which has a pink undertone. And that's why I really wanted this. And of course, we have the pink blush. Now, I was a little bit unsure about her blush formula because I do have one of her Pillow Talk blushes. This guy right here. I have this in the colorway Pillow Talk, and I just really don't like it. This is not a good formula. Honestly, this face palette is so different. This blush is beautiful. This actually is quite pigmented. I would say it has some medium pigmentation to it. This blended out beautifully and it lasted really, really long on my cheeks. So I think the quality is definitely there. The shade, stunning. I mean, this is more of a neutral pink. It's not necessarily cool toned. If anything, I would even go so far and say it's a little bit warmer. And I'm going to be reviewing this powder in one of my upcoming speed reviews videos. So I would definitely recommend this. Definitely. It's great. It's beautiful. So, so pretty. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So let's move on to the next one. And the next one is actually a shade extension. This is a cult classic blush. So this is by Too Faced and this is the Cloud Crush Blurring Blush. So for the longest time, Too Faced had this blush in 5 different shades. I have 2 of the original blushes. I've got this in the shade Candy Clouds, which is their beautiful, like popping, cool pink shade. And then I love this shade here. This is the Velvet Crush shade. Velvet Crush is actually described as a nude pink, but I would say it's almost like a muted nude shade. So they actually did release 3 brand new shades. They actually also released this shade Candy Clouds in Super Candy Clouds. And I think it's a little bit of a deeper shade, if I'm not mistaken. 2 out of the 3 have a matte finish, and there is one that has more of that satin finish. I did not pick that one up. I picked up the other matte shade, and that is the shade Berry Dream. I actually did apply this when I created a cool muted spring look. I definitely did build this up way too much in that video. Way too much. I kind of always get lost when I'm filming. I just apply blush and I just go on and on and on and on. And I keep on forgetting how pigmented this actually is, because this is also a deeper shade. It is actually described as a deep berry shade, but just look at that. That is such a beautiful purple mauve shade. If I apply this with a light hand, if I don't build it up that much, it's actually looking stunning. I really, really like it. It looks so blurring on my skin. This is also what I would call like a medium pigmented blush. They are definitely also not the most pigmented in town. However, because this is a deeper shade, this shade in particular is going to have a little bit more pigment. I'm so glad that they have actually decided to extend the shade range. So let's move on to the next powder blush. So this is by Tower 28, and this is the Get Set Matte Powder Blush, and this retails for $22. Now, what I found very innovative about these is the fact that Tower 28 did claim that you could set your cream products with this blush. But I'm kind of always going in with a setting powder anyway. Some people may not have a lot of setting powder, and they actually just apply a little bit of cream blush, and then they want to set it with a matching color. There are 7 shades now. They initially launched this in 6 shades. They recently only added a lavender shade. You guys, this looks pretty. And in my speed review video, I actually showed you guys this shade, Sortal Slushy. That one is described as a rose shade, in my opinion. The shade description on these is completely off. This is not a rose shade. This is more of that berry pinky shade. This is also aimed at deeper skin tones, so this is quite pigmented, this shade in particular. And I also showed you this shade, Long Beach Iced Tea, and that one is described as an earthy, rosy pink shade. This shade is not quite as pigmented as this one, so there is a discrepancy in terms of pigmentation level. If you do go with one that is aimed for deeper skin tones, again, there is going to be more pigmentation than if you use a lighter shade. I mean, it's quite obvious, right? But some brands don't really change the pigmentation level. It really depends on the brand. So I showed you both of these shades, and in my speed review video, I was claiming that this was the shade that I was eyeing from the beginning and that I wanted. Until I double checked and I realized I purchased the wrong shade. I initially wanted the shade Samo Spritzer, and Sortal Slushy and Samo Spritzer were 2 words that sounded similar, both starting with S. And they kind of have similar colors, but I really wanted the rosy mauve shade. Of course, I wanted a rosy mauve shade. So this is the shade that I initially wanted. I'm so glad I got it. I feel like they are so blurring on my skin. These are not splotchy. They're not patchy. They blend out like a dream. You can build these up. And I don't think that they are dry. I feel like they really just look blurred on the skin. They've got this like silkiness about them. So I was really surprised about the texture of these and the finish. I mean, I love a good matte blush, and this is such a hit for me. I really have been enjoying these Tower 28 blushes. I really, really like them. All right, but I kept the best formula for the end of the video. And I know this is pricey and it's brand new, but I'm blown away. I'm so blown away by this. And I did not think that I would love it. Now, this is by Westman Atelier, and these are the powder duos, and one of them retails for $75. So there are 2 different products, and each of them has 3 different duos. So the very first one has a baby cheeks, and when they are saying baby cheeks, they mean the blush, the powder blush, and a face trace sculpting powder. So more of like a contouring powder. So there's a blush and a contouring powder in one duo. And then there are 3 blush duos. So you're gonna get 2 different blush shades. I picked up one of each. So maybe let's talk about the blush duo first. Now, this does exist in 3 colorways, and I'm telling you, I'm so tempted to get more. Honestly, Westman Atelier, for me, it's a lot of hit or misses. A lot of their powder products in the past did not really impress me that much. Like, their powder bronzer is so freaking expensive, and I actually purchased that when their brand was launched back in 2020. After like, what, 2 months, it got these little dots, and there was actually a problem with that formula. So they had to reformulate that product. And apparently, I wasn't the only person who had that issue. And it was also very warm and it was very pigmented. It was a beautiful powder formula, but I had my issues with that product. And then I hated their setting powder. Their setting powder. That was a disaster. You know, I was not sure if I would like this. I really was like, please, Westman, don't disappoint me. And they did not. First off, I like the packaging. It's like this beautiful sort of like pink packaging. It's not too heavy, but still it's quite like luxurious packaging. It's really, really lovely, elegant and sleek. And then this is the colorway Coquette and Mimi. So Coquette on the left, right here, is described as a bright pinky peach, and Mimi is described as a tawny beige. Now I actually have Mimi in her cream formula. I've got the original Mimi. I don't think that shade is actually still available. I think they changed the color of Mimi slightly. So this is the blush duo. I know it's confusing because this honestly looks like a bronzer, but it's not a bronzer. It's actually a blush shade. And this is pulling quite peachy on me, but it looks lovely. And I'm not usually one who's gonna go for these types of blushes, but these two combined with each other, amazing. And also when I did apply this colorway in particular, I was wearing the Westman Atelier contour stick in biscuit underneath already. These two together, beautiful, stunning. Coquette, very lightly pigmented, but once you build it up, it just looks so beautiful. It's like this refreshing peachy shade. And then I want to show you the one with the sculpting powder in here. So the duo that does contain the sculpting product, all of the blushes are pretty pink, but there is definitely a difference in terms of the contouring shades that you can get. They will go from light to deep. So I decided to go with the lightest one, and that's the one that contains the shade Petal as a blush. So Petal is described as a dusty nude rose, and then Biscuit is a cool beige coffee. Now Biscuit is their contouring cream product that I've got. Now I have a cool undertone, right? So their contouring stick, it's not one that pulls extremely gray on my skin. It's almost a little bit more rosy in undertone, and this on my skin tone, it has quite a different undertone than their contouring stick. I don't feel like this is that rosy. I am wearing this right now on my skin, and I'm gonna tell you, this is more of a bronzer. This pulls a little bit warmer on me. And then this shade, I'm wearing this on the apples of my cheeks today as well. This is one of the most buildable powders in the world. Like, this is one where I can go ham with. Like, I can build this up, I can build this up, I can build this up. It's not gonna not have any color payoff, but you really have to build this one up. But once you build this one up, the thing is, this looks so stunning on my skin. I feel like this looks like, it does not look like makeup. This has such a beautiful, soft focus finish. It looks blurred. It just looks like, I don't know, it looks like my skin, but better. And it is just one of the best powders I've ever tried on my cheeks. I am blown away by this finish. It's absolutely incredible. So this is my favorite one. I'm sorry that it's the most expensive product. It just happened to be my favorite one. It's just worth it. And yeah, unfortunately, it's worth it. So what can I say? If you can get these at a discount at your Sephora right now, I promise you, you will love them. Just keep in mind that this is a buildable formula, but it just looks so natural and pretty. Yeah. Whew. Those were all of the blushes that I've been trying recently. So please do let me know if you have tried out any of these formulas, What did you like? What did you not like? Drop me a comment down below. Or if you are picking something up during the Sephora sale, or if you just want to treat yourself, or if you just want to say hello, please do drop me a comment. I'm always looking forward to hearing from you. And if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and ring the bell in order to get notified about my upcoming videos. And until next time, please do take care. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.